Sure it is. He went back in a time machine and started this, right?
Yeah. It's made in England.
It's great. It's beautiful.
3 speeds. Thank you.
And you're just here because Phil is here, right?
Yeah. It's my philosophy. It's my philosophy.
Yeah, I think we all do.
All the time too. It's having fun.
Well, only in Hollywood can we have the nexus of media.
Like that.
Media.
6.5 seconds. Right now, exactly like a controlled demolition. You can see the switch going on. The FBI.
So this is your footage
How about it,
from
Darth? How about this anti-war?
the war protest last Saturday.
Yes, it is, Nick. And of course, everybody was there, including Darth Vader and a couple of stormtroopers, along with the 9/11 Truth people. Quite an experience, but I was really amazed to see so many people out there on bikes, including some of the participants. And we're going to see if we can't fast forward this. It is Kill Radio and KPFK. It is Bike Talk, and we got to talk, and you're listening to the sounds of That's Right, the anti-war protest. And a lot of people say, and we had all sorts of opinion about should we protest, why protest. We've heard these things before, and lo and behold, I think we even got to meet some other people that we always see on these protests. Let's see who was there. Why, yes indeed, as you see the bike riding into the sunset. And this thing is supposed to go through chapters, and it never does, but we're going to see if we can't get it to a point here where it does go through chapters.
Who do you got?
Well, it's funny because I hadn't seen some of these guys in months, years, even weeks, and look who we got here. We got
him.
We got Phil, who came out on his bike with his little peace thing. Now, his bike, I don't think of it as a bike. I think it more as like, that's the reason there's a commodity. That's the reason there's a market right now. It's like this Da Vinci in itself has rescued the United States bike building market, and we see him on the screen, and we're getting to a point where it's loading.
What are you talking about?
Really,
Da Vinci?
really quite a thing. The Da Vinci is a tandem, multi-speed. You can pedal either one of you, and it doesn't matter. You know how you usually have to keep in sync or something like that, but it's not true. So let's see. Here we go. Let's roll the tape. And it is Kill Radio. It's not really tape. We're just saying that because we're so
Those hippies.
Damn hippies, ecomaniacs.
Yeah, why do they always equate it with like things that aren't, they just have positive images. I even talked to a cop today.
We had fun last night on the ride.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Great ride.
It was a punk rock ride. All morning today on Bike Talk, we were trying to equate the fact that if you come out and do punk rock, you're doing punk rock for peace too.
Yeah. Everything's for peace, man.
All right, Phil. Well, look, they're actually sticking around. This is how you know. They're sticking around at big press because they don't want to talk to you.
Hey, I don't see Fox Network anywhere around.
Well, see, that's the thing. Do you see any encouraging news with like, besides the independent outlets or anything? Do you see anybody else covering the war?
None whatsoever.
Oh, sorry, you didn't get interviewed.
Huh?
You're busy.
No, it's all right. I'll talk to you too.
Yeah.
Dude, what? This is like.
You got it?
I got it, and we'll talk to you in a minute about it. All right?
Cool.
All right. So anyway, Phil, great to see you. I'll come bother you.
So
If only to- if
somebody
only to
handed
ask about
you
the Da Vinci here.
Yeah, apparently there's.
Take care of us when we get burnt.
You know
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
I
There was
don't.
somebody else coming out
That's what
for
we do.
the burn victims, and apparently there's a lot of people that come out to these war marches. It's not just about the war. It's just not about one little aspect. And it's funny. People talk about it like how do you take something with this much of a carnival atmosphere seriously if it's going to address things like Halliburton or established kind of infrastructure? I mean, people that are in the business of building a war machine have been doing it for a long time. And I'm reminded of Eisenhower. I know you're going, what? Why are we getting a history lesson for Bike Talk today? Well, sometimes you can see how historically there are all these bureaucracies involved with just getting something as simple as a paint on the ground for a bike lane or something. We saw that, and it's encouraging to see that we're now moving forward here.
Hey, speaking of moving forward, I just wanted to mention that I got a listener email about how our podcasts haven't been regularly up on.
Well,
on
we're
KPFK,
gonna see
and-
about working on that.
Well, but this listener turned out to be the chief engineer for KCRW.
Oh.
A lot of the shit's been going on. Like the one that started.
Well, welcome KCRW to our listening area.
Yeah.
I can't get out to any of these things when they're farther away.
You know, I ride there to work, but then, you know, that was it. I didn't want to go riding after I got there.
Yeah, exactly. So, wait a minute. Let's get back on this. How far do you ride?
22 miles to work
Oh my God.
every day. No, not every day.
Well, yeah, but still, you do it once or twice a week. You're sort of, let's just say you're
I haven't used gasoline in a long time. Let's say that. I drove like once last week.
you're reducing your carbon footprint so somebody else can drive their Hummer 5 days a week, right?
That's right. And somebody will step up to it too. Sadly to say.
All right, we've heard it before.
Using up what he doesn't use.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
So, how many of your
So this is Phil and his wife who come out to these protest things, and it's like really funny because Phil started. Joe Linton always likes to pull him out during talks and stuff. He came out for the route down ride, which was kind of like
Phil? What's his? What does he
Phil-
do? What is he?
He worked for the city. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
And we could go into a flowery explanation or something, but to basically, I've known Phil for so long, and I used to see him on these rides and sort of comment on his, his Da Vinci. He got hit, and they bought this for him, the insurance company.
I mean, because let's be honest, it's a cumulative thing. I've got so many cars that just sit around now.
I
Donate some of them. I donated one to a friend that's going to be homeless.
Cars?
The other one, I pulled the.
Yeah, we're talking about how what should you do once you're car free, and the idea is we hear about all these other programs at other radio stations. They say donate your car to us, and it's like if you really think about it, are they donating the car to be a car still, or are they recycling the car? And in most cases, they're tearing down and stripping the car, or they're doing it and building cars. In fact, I've heard just with the tsunami and stuff that a lot of people are buying. A lot of dealerships are out there buying old Priuses and stuff that should have been recycled or should have been, let's just say, in that belt of reuse or something. And now what they're doing is they're bringing them back. They're bringing back used cars, building it just so they have cars on the lot. So it's like that is an established infrastructure. They have to have that. They have to have cars in a car lot to sell. And what I'm trying to do and what we're trying to do is make you rethink it. It's like, why do the cars have to be there at all? Obviously, we're across the street from the Kill Radio studios, and we've just seen what happens to a used car lot that isn't a used car lot anymore. And in fact, there's 2 or 3 around the area here that have stopped being used car lots.
It becomes a gas station?
No, there's one that's now a electronics center. The one across the street is been sort of condensed, and they're building a school on what used to be the repair lot. Because as we know, cars never are quite right. They have to be repaired. And as I say this, I'm looking across, and it looks like this gentleman here on the bicycle is sort of walking it down the hill instead of riding. Perhaps there's something wrong with that. So it's not just cars and stuff.
But he's got his dry cleaning.
Oh, he's got his dry cleaning. That's the reason. I guess his dry cleaning.
Tangled in the
yeah,
wheel.
And lo and behold, he looks like he's straightened it out.
Okay.
He's okay. It sounds like we're doing play-by-play, but let's get back to we're talking about certain issues about offsetting your carbon, and we're not only offsetting our own carbon, but now we're offsetting other people's carbon. And you're saying, is that a viable thing? Yeah, I'd like to believe it is, especially when they're talking about, is it really essential to start this kind of snake? Are we really cleaning up? Are industry going to clean up, or are they just going to buy a lot of carbon credits? And I'd like to believe they're greedy enough so as they're going to stop paying for their carbon credits and maybe clean up. But until then, we can benefit from this. Anyway, let's get back to Phil.
When I go, the cars will still be there. Maybe somebody will go, hey man, this is pretty sexy. Yeah, no gas. And you?
Long time no see.
Slumming with the bike crowd here today?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Keep it. Thanks to everyone.
Wait, what's your beef?
So this is the Hollywood anti-war rally from last Saturday. And Chicken Leather reporting, running into person after person from all of his various circles?
One of the things that I like to do, and I'm stalling now as we get into the next bit, is that we bumped into some students there, and lo and behold, everybody thinks of these anti-war things as being like a 2-minute things. Food Not Bombs is out there with their bike, and let's see if I can't roll this back enough to start the Long Beach crowd here. And we talk about Food Not Bombs. What are they doing? They're actually taking some of the things that would not necessarily be used by the community. Let's just say food. It's not rotten food, but it's food that's past its expiration, or it's going to be past its expiration, that the local food kind of infrastructure has to get rid of.
Like Whole Foods gives their bread.
Yeah, they have to do this, and it's the same thing, except Food Not Bombs does it on a little bigger scale, a little more local scale. They take things from farmers market. So here we go. I'm talking to a crew from Long Beach here on Kill Radio. And KPFK.
The Fixie kids out here protesting the war. Now, come on. Why can't we just stay at home and work on our back tricks, our backward circles, huh? Why are we going to come out and protest the war?
So we can practice our backward circles at the protest.
Oh, I like that. So what are we going to get ramps next year? Anti-war ramps?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
That'd be
Maybe peace will break out, and then we can just have another fun day on the bike.
right.
Yeah.
Shiny day.
Well, I'm not carrying enough shit on my bike? Come on, how much stuff are you carrying today? Shit, it's
just the bike.
nice. Now, okay, just for our geeks, what are you riding today?
SC frame, P43 velocity rims, riser bars, originate neck.
Available at your dollar store, right?
what?
You can pick this up anywhere.
Yeah, the hub in Long Beach. Check it out.
That's a good one, actually.
Check it out.
Yeah. Did you get it? Did Big Bike Dan help you fix this bike?
Yeah. Well, no, not this bike, but like bikes that I worked on before.
He's been doing a lot in the community, which I
that
think
guy's
is really
pretty
great. Yeah. Are you guys from Long Beach? You came all the way up here? That's impressive, man. I want to commend you for coming up.
Thank you.
So what's your first name?
Martin.
And very nice, good representation. I love the fact that you've got fucking anodized parts in these things. Jesus, these are expensive. No wonder you don't lock them. You just wear them on your hip, right? They're like a fashion accessory you don't want to lose.
Well, not a fashion accessory, but they are an accessory.
Yeah, but they're a vital one for transportation.
Yeah, especially if you use it to get to work or whatnot, you get around.
So you're like a working fixie guy. You're not one of these guys who just poses.
I don't even drink, dude. You know what I mean? You don't drink, just
I didn't have a drink.
hard,
Why are you looking at me like I don't even drink, man?
No, not like that. I'm just saying because a lot of the times, like, fixed gear bikes are associated with pubs and like drinking, bars, bar hopping. Like, no, dude, this is to work from Long Beach to Seal Beach, back to like Long Beach or whatnot. And it's not like Long Beach, like mid city. It's like Long Beach, North Long Beach, like Paramount with Compton and like Paramount or whatnot.
My bike is ditching on me. I'm not like trying to get away. It's just like, yeah, there you go. Thanks a lot.
Redless neck, okay. All right.
Oh, we gotta do that sometimes. See, the trends move all over the place, and they're really helpful. It's like now it's stronger. Yeah. People think that I'm just stealing ideas from BMX guys I know, but it's actually working.
Yeah, I steal ideas from BMX.
Yeah, they come from
I
anywhere.
have BMX.
So maybe this idea about peace can spread from like.
So this guy has
All right, so we
lot
interrupted
going on.
him
He's
talking about peace. We're
he's
going to
got-
back that up just for a half second here. But
he's got the nose thing and he's got the ear
he's
things,
definitely
and he's
got some
got
body
the
piercings. And
dreads and
but
one
he's
dread.
come all this way for the war, so there's not any one. I like to refer back to Steve Atano, who's a good friend of mine that moved out to Seattle, and I used to say, "Hey, why are you here for the war protest?" And he used to say, "Well, it's because, I really want to stop all these hippies coming out here and just protesting the war." And I said, "So you're protesting?" And he says, "Well, yeah, I'm taking up their space now. They can actually do things that I guess hippies do. I don't know, but it was."
Well, I heard someone. I heard someone say that I heard somebody else say that she was like a middle class person and she wanted to go get arrested for protesting the war, so that the jails wouldn't just be filled with vegan hippies.
Yeah. Which I know some of the people from Food Not Bombs are vegans, but I like to believe that they transcend all culture, and there's some meat eaters and that kind of cult. It's just I think they do vegan mostly and vegetarian just because it's the shelf life lasts a lot longer than if you were carting around meat and stuff. And I think it's also like a health thing. They put so many hormones just to make it look like meat again, or God, we won't even talk about spoiled pork or anything like that.
Yeah, meat. I think rotten meat's a lot more dangerous than rotten.
I think so. And for them, I think there's more of a liability factor. But
so you're talking to this guy about like he was talking about. Well, you're talking about
Peace.
some bike parts now too.
Yeah, we were talking about, like, they had a lot of BMX parts that would normally be on like 20-inch BMXs or started out in there, but they're now on fixed gear. And I used to argue with Mikey Wally because he said I was the first one to do this and stuff, and I said, "Oh, come on, Mikey, I don't think we can pin it to anything. Just like there." And he says, "Well, you know," and we used to argue that, did Gary Fisher really invent the mountain bike, or did he just sort of meld all the different components that are out there? It's like, did Edison really invent this, or did he take technology that had been built before and then sort of put it all together? And I like to believe that there probably is somebody that started this or did it, but it's the idea that when it starts permeating culture at this point, I don't really want to, it's like somebody else take the credit. I'll just use the components to ride with. So anyway, we're going to let him talk about his little peace rant for 30 seconds. I think we owe it to it because it was the piece right here. It is. Kill Radio.
About peace can spread from like the bike community into like
bike community.
It's whatever helps you ride, what feels right, you know?
I like that attitude. It's not a fashion statement, it's getting from point A to B, right?
Yeah, basically.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah.
And as I say this, more old school guard people coming up. Oh, this is in front of the bathroom. I thought they were just standing.
Old school guard on bikes with racks, which was really good.
That's the basic concept, just compassion and just peace,
It's good to see you guys out. Thanks for coming all this way.
Yeah.
Great stuff. BMX pedals?
Yeah.
I got plastic pedals too. Oh, great stuff.
So you got the logos going on?
Nice. Look at these. They're clear. That's that.
You got a fixed gear cog on there?
No. This is a coaster brake. But I have ridden them fixed. Those are dangerous to go fixed on some of this shit sometimes.
All right.
Really, carbon fiber and a 26. Is that like a 650? Those are great.
You do a good do.
Oh, God. BMX?
So he had like a threadless carbon fiber fork with what looked like an offset BMX headset. And that might be our artist here that we are going to be highlighting a little bit today. And I know, it's actually Lexus from the Bike Coalition. So let's see what she has to say. It is Kill Radio and KPFK here on Bike Talk. We're going to try the phone and see if it works out. Let's bring the phone up. Hi, Lexus. Can you hear us? Hello? Hi.
Hello?
Hi. Can you hear us here? We hear you. Why don't we pick up the phone and just talk into the phone that way?
Hey, Alexis.
Hey.
Now I got some sound here.
Okay.
So, well, thanks for calling in.
No problem.
And I know you're probably busy with several things. You always seem to be doing a lot of stuff with LACBC.
Yeah, we've got some new things going on, some things to celebrate, and there's lots of stuff going on around the community. We are hoping folks can still supply comments on a new bicycle parking draft ordinance for the city of Los Angeles. We have a researcher who's doing some research for us on best practices in bike parking, who's also a city planning intern, who's drafted a new bicycle parking ordinance for the city of Los Angeles that covers everything from multifamily residential all the way up to industrial and institutional, supplying more short-term and long-term parking. But there's always room for improvement because the city's had their chance to weigh in on what they think works, and so now this is the opportunity for the public to weigh in and provide some comments, and there's going to be a public hearing on March 30th at City Hall at 1 p.m.
Well, so what are the ramifications of the ordinance?
Well, it primarily affects new development, although it does affect change of use. And what it requires is there's a sort of a little methodology there with based on amount of car parking, but at a bare minimum, all new uses would have at least 2 short-term and 2 long-term parking. Obviously, what it is, it requires up to 5 to 10% of whatever the car parking is. So if you're talking about 100 car parking spaces, you'd have 10 short-term and 10 long-term bike parking spaces.
Oh, okay. So this is for bike parking.
Correct. For bike parking.
So every new parking space will have bike parking spaces.
Exactly. So for any new development, whether it be multifamily or a new library or a new shopping center, transit-oriented development, what have you, you'll have new uses. And one of the, I think, exciting things about this ordinance is we just had our first bike corral installed in Highland Park, and we all know that took a lot of effort. Well, this ordinance actually includes bike corrals in that and provides guidance for developers or businesses that are interested in having bike corrals in front of their business.
No, so I thought bike corrals were temporary. Like at all the events, the LACBC bike corrals.
Oh, no, this is permanent bike corrals. So removing 1 car parking space and replacing that with between 6 to 8 bicycle parking racks on the street.
Oh, okay.
So like up in Highland Park in front of Cafe de Leche, that's a permanent bike corral.
Wow. Well, this sounds exciting. I'm excited.
So it's, as I said, there's some good stuff there. There's always a chance to make it better and stronger, so I encourage people to go to the city planning website and provide comments on it as they, things that they want to see in there, ways to address, existing buildings, things like that.
What's the city planning website?
It is, let me see here. I think it's just actually I can't tell you because my power is out.
Oh, you're putting her on the spot here.
So I can't tell you from the online. But if you go to our website, our blog, we have a blog post about it, and there's links to the ordinance and the email address that you can submit comments to.
Okay, and so it's lacbc.org?
lacbc.wordpress.com, I think.
Sorry, .wordpress.com? Yeah, and what kind of comments would people, good going? I mean, good job?
It's been, I think most people are supportive. I think some people would like to see it be stronger. We don't actually receive the comments. They go to city planning, so my basis on that is just what I've seen on Streets Blog and a little bit of the comments that have been on our blog. Obviously, Joseph Braelli, I feel like he is an expert when it comes to some of this parking stuff and bike and car parking swap outs, and he is definitely would like to see a lot more, and I think that's worthwhile to push for. And I think that the city planning is actually working on several ordinances. This is just one relating to bike parking, but they are looking at parking overlay districts and some other things that will come out hopefully later this year that can address neighborhoods like Highland Park, Atwater, Silver Lake, where you have a lot of existing buildings that don't currently have car parking wrapped into them. So when someone wants to change a use, this is like a lot of, when someone wants to change a use, all of a sudden city planning says, oh, now you're required to supply car parking, but you have an existing building that's, maybe 50, 60, 100 years old, and you can't supply car parking. So that's something that still needs to be addressed, and I believe city planning is actually working on an ordinance that would allow communities to have this sort of parking overlay district where they would basically not require any new parking spaces, and folks could start adding just bike parking instead of car parking.
Okay, and I think we're having Glenn Bailey call in later about this too.
Okay, great.
So what else you got going on?
Well, we just launched a new campaign. Actually, I should say we're getting ready to launch a new campaign. We are launching a Good Roads LA campaign, which is to address the potholes and rough asphalt along our daily commutes. A Good Roads movement, was something that happened at the turn of the last century, where cyclists sort of organized to demand paved roads. And this is sort of a new version or a new take on that, where we are going to hopefully be working with our members and volunteers to organize and lead probably monthly rides to go out and survey a lot of the routes that cyclists use and start marking down all the potholes, spraying some of them with temporary shock marking paint, and calling them in to DWP, the council members, and hopefully getting some of the biggest problems in our roadways addressed. Because I think, as we all know, when you're out riding, a pothole, well, it may ruin your alignment if you're in a car. It can break your arm and ruin your bicycle if you're biking down the street and you don't see that pothole. And right now, the Bureau of Street Service doesn't necessarily prioritize. They don't really pothole repair. It's based on when people call in and on those things. So we're going to basically try and help prioritize them, fixing the potholes that affect cyclists the most.
Well, this should get you, and it's something that all the road users would appreciate. So
exactly, it benefits more than just people riding bikes, which is, I think, a great aspect of it. And other bicycle coalitions around the country have been doing some similar things like this. I know San Francisco Bicycle Coalition's been doing this for the past 3 years, and it's been really successful.
All right. Well, anything else? Here's chicken litter. Actually, I was at out last night. Not only did we check out the punk rock movie over at the Echo Park Film Center, but we were at B-Rad's party, and you think of it as a party. There'll be dancing, there'll be carousing, there'll be music and stuff. But it seemed like most of my night was talking about infrastructure, LACBC's part in helping some of the bike co-ops, the bike co-ops working in conjunction with this, and some other things. And one of the things that kept on coming up is like a sequel to a movie. If it works, it's going to keep coming back. And I remember seeing you, of all places, the Ciclavia benefit, and you were there having a great time. And it seems like just I know people say, oh, she was just dancing, but I think there's something underlying. If I'm going to a party and talking about issues, and you're going to a benefit and dancing, I want to trade lifestyles with you. So, as mentioned, the Ciclavia is coming back again, right? Soon.
Yeah, April 10th. So 2 weeks.
Wow, 2 weeks away. Should we be counting down or something? Is it?
Yeah, I feel like we might need a collective countdown calendar.
Yeah.
A countdown to fun.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, we got to talk to Steve, I guess, who's one of the guys. Steve and Bobby are always out there.
Oh, yeah.
And they're proponents in not only educating people about what to do, because I think that the kids get it. And I always argue this. So the kids are out there playing soccer. The minute you close the street, around the block here at Kilradio, they've been working on the DWP line. Every time they fix it, it's more like, we're just kind of patch it like a bad tire. And it's like, well, why don't you put a new tire in or something? I don't know what's wrong with those pipes, but I think it's because of the metro and the way we're situated within the infrastructure in the city. They're building a new school that it always seems to be dependent on 50-year-old pipes or something here, and so they're refitting them all the time. And because they're refitting them, the street gets blocked. And when you have a blocked street, it's almost like you don't have to tell kids there's no traffic and you can go out there with a soccer ball. Or they're riding their little kiddie bikes around in circles or something. So
yeah. Well, we don't have a lot of park space in the city, especially in the really dense urban areas like Koreatown. So having a street closure and having something like Ciclavia happen is a great way for people to get out and at least have access to this wonderful open space resource, which is our streets. They make up so much of our city, and for so much of the day, there's ways that we could use them better than how they're currently used. And I think Ciclavia is a great opportunity to show folks how dynamic our streets can be.
Yeah, the issue of public space is actually going to be, I like to say it's like fear being on trial, but there's some real issues. I know that there's one that the LA Weekly is highlighting about a Canadian band that was trying to canoe the LA River, and you say, what does this have to do with bike issues? But it has to do with definite, is it public space? is something has a private entity protecting it for the public, and we're the public, can't the public come in and use it? And so I know Ciclavia doesn't sort of border on these issues. It seems like it's a one for all and all for one kind of a musketeer thing, but I'm wondering, do you think we'll ever define these issues about who's minding who or who's policing who on these rides and stuff?
You know, I feel like we'll probably get somewhere with some of it, but I don't know if we'll really ever resolve some of those issues. I feel like even with Ciclavia, as that moves from maybe being 3 times a year to maybe 12 times a year to being every week, which would be great, we may win some things there with people coming around to what a great positive experience this is, but then at the same time we may still have issues like we've seen in Wilbur where residents come out to say, we just don't want safer streets.
Yeah, and it's the argument that you're making an argument not just for bike infrastructure but for safety of infrastructure, and so that way everybody can get involved. It's a shame that if you build a bike corral and there's no bikes on it or something like that. I haven't seen that, but that's their argument. And I'm saying, well, isn't it better to have this visual representation that we're trying something different?
Yeah.
That maybe people will see it when they're driving their car and going, wow, there was bike parking there. And
yeah, I think that we're in a spot where we're it's like a chicken and egg scenario where we have to start providing the infrastructure in order to encourage people to try it, because right now folks will always say, oh, well, there's no one out there doing it, there's no one walking, there's no one biking, but you can't measure based on what is perceived because we haven't provided the infrastructure to support people walking or biking. So, just like if you had a wide open field and you say, well, there's no cars here, so why would you build a road? Because there's no road there. That's why there's no cars. So if you don't supply the bike parking or the, beautiful sidewalks and good crosswalks and, bike lanes and other things, you're not going to get people out walking and biking and enjoying neighborhoods. So we have to sort of get the infrastructure out there, and there may be a little bit of a lag time, but folks will eventually start to try it and get out there, especially as gas prices go up. And
well, thanks for calling in, Allison. I have one question, and this has to do with, we were playing before some of the Long Beach people, and they were talking about some high-end components in their bikes. I'm wondering, do you have any components that you would think on your own bike that you would think, oh, this is just too high-end for it, but it helps me get by, whether it be a set of really sprucey tires or something, or is it all just a standard stock bike that you ride?
It's pretty standard. Probably the fanciest thing on my bike is my my tape on my handlebars.
Whoa.
My bike's pretty low maintenance. I will admit I probably know more about bike infrastructure than I do about bicycles, so I'm not up to speed on the hot parts and things. Although I guess I have nice lights. I take those off all the time.
Oh, well, see, now that's a safety thing that I think more and more people are realizing isn't a safety thing. It's an essential part of your bike.
Yeah.
Especially if you get caught out at night and you want to be visible to other traffic or what have you.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, well, thanks for calling, and we're gonna get back to Bike Talk.
All right, great. Well, thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Yeah, Dave, call in next week if you can.
Okay, we'll do.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Bye.
Well, I hope to hear from Glenn Bailey now. And Ted Rogers, I see on Facebook, is wanting to call in. And then there's your friend, Tick.
My friend. No, he's the resident artist here. He's going to be the resident artist. But until then, as mentioned, we got to B-Rad's party last night. Let's hear a little bit of the music, and we'll tell you a little bit of what's going on here on Kill Radio.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
So, Glenn Bailey, are you still in the LABAC chair position?
I'm vice chair now. We had elections last month.
And
it's a 2-year term, so.
And so, how are things going with the world of LABAC?
Well,
Can we thank you for the 2 years? Yes. Well, thank you for the 2 years.
Thanks. It was an interesting 2 years to say the least. I mean, we started off with the Reseda Boulevard first time around that the city wanted to put in peak hour lanes, and I mean at least one hand of the city wanted to put in peak hour lanes, and the other hand wanted to put in bike lanes, and so we had to deal with that in terms of the city processes. And then of course we had the bike plan going on during all that time, and then the mayor having his unexpected interest but welcome interest in cycling, and a lot of initiatives there. And then of course the Wilbur issue hit the fan in August, and we've been dealing with that since then. So it's been a lot of things, good things, but a lot of challenges too during that time period. So,
well, what's Wilbur?
And I'm not going away,
Oh, you're not going away.
So I'm vice chair. All it means is I don't run the meetings, and I don't, I don't sign off on the agendas. So, otherwise.
So how did that work? That you were chair, now vice chair? Is it like you?
It's up to the 19 members of the Bicycle Advisory Committee, and they're all independently appointed people. 15 by each of the city council members and 4 by the mayor, and so it's by majority vote. And so it was a close vote. I mean, there was a 1 vote difference, but that was the vote in February. So Jay Slater is chair for the next 2 years.
Okay, and so what's the most important thing you guys are dealing with right now, would you say?
Well, I mean, I think that the bicycle plan implementation is the most important thing that we should be dealing with. We every month there's sort of a different set of issues that kind of face us. What's new and with it's a big city with lots of different departments, and we've got lots of issues. But as far as the Bicycle Advisory Committee and its role to the city, I and I think, and certainly the committee supported efforts to integrate the Bicycle Advisory Committee into the normal way of doing business for the city through the bicycle plan, so that whenever there was a project, the advisory committee would be notified, that we could weigh in, and so we just need to stand up for ourselves to do that. And the reason that's important is that there's a lot of things that go on in the city. There's lots of committees and commissions and meetings, and I think it's important that even though the Bicycle Advisory Committee is only 19 people, it's not like we're not an organization of thousands like the LA County Bike Coalition, but we do have representation from every part of the city, and it's important that we get notified of different things that are going on in the city, so that if we want to weigh in or we have concerns or suggestions, that we have ability to do that in a timely manner. And because we have different experiences and connections and involvements, we have an opportunity to network with other folks, beyond the BAC. That's the ideal. It doesn't always work out that way, but that I think is a good goal. So anyway, I think we're, in a sense, we're having to make sure that the mistakes of the past, and by that I mean the 1996 plan, which was also had lots of facilities called for, lots of initiatives, but was there wasn't a lot of organized, planned out way of implementing it. It was sort of whatever fruit fell from the tree was picked up, and opportunities, which is good. I mean, there were some things done, but it wasn't like an overall aggressive approach. So in the new bike plan, hopefully we have put in some measures that will assure that there is a constant review of it, so that 15 years from now, when there's maybe another overhaul of the bike plan, we aren't having the same conversations. So to that end, a bicycle plan implementation team group has been established, and not just the BAC, but other bicycle activists and organizations are invited to participate. The way it's structured, so that we are focusing in a setting that has some transparency for the different infrastructure projects. We haven't gotten a handle yet on the policy improvements. Policy improvements would include education and enforcement and things that are other than just putting the lines down the streets or the physical improvements.
Okay, so
I'm cautiously optimistic, but it will require a constant vigilance and involvement by not just the Bicycle Advisory Committee, but by all cyclists and all supporters of cycling.
Right, because you're just really representing people.
Right,
cyclists.
Right, and there's there are some people who are not as active, and so we need to complement that with activists from all walks of life, all parts of the city, and a variety of organizations, not just that. So that's real important, I think.
Well, yeah, we got a question from Chicken here.
Yeah. Now, Glenn, one of the things we talk about normal kind of operation, but let's be honest, this is Los Angeles, and I'm reminded of your role in a couple of crises that seemed to sort of establish some sort of structure, which I thought was really good. One of them was after the now famous critical mass kind of, I don't know what they're going to call it, the beatdown, more or less, but the police came out and they addressed it, and it was great to see the BAC almost take a sort of judicial role in not making any kind of policy, but letting everybody speak. And in that meeting, what I thought was really great was everybody got a voice. Everybody was able to get their 5 minutes, even some opposing viewpoints, even though it wasn't met by the bike community with any kind of applause or anything. They were still able to voice their opinion, whether it be pro bike or pro whatever. And I thought the structure was really good there, or at least the quote unquote Robert's rules of order were sort of enforced there. And I'm also I'll talk about something after you comment on that.
Okay. Well, I forgot to include that in the list of things that we were faced with during my 2 years at the helm, because that actually was, I think, that was an opportunity that worked out timing. It was the May critical mass ride. The Bicycle Advisory Committee meets the first Tuesday of even-numbered months, so that would have been the first Tuesday in June, which followed, the Tuesday after that Friday. So we were able to incorporate the critical mass issues and the LAPD by calling basically a simultaneous special meeting for that night, and so and we complied with the law, the Brown Act, which is the public notice of meetings, because we are we're an advisory committee of the city, so we're not just like a private group that can just meet informally whenever. In a restaurant, we have to. Our meetings are open to the public for public comment, public participation, so we have to notice that. So that all worked out well, and of course, as you know, we had a great attendance of, I think, over 50 cyclists at the meeting.
And about 4 or 5 news
right. The television cameras were rolling.
Oh, yeah.
The chief of police, Charlie Beck, came in a little bit later during that discussion, and so I think that was an appropriate role for that setting, that the Bicycle Advisory Committee, being appointees of each of the council members and the mayor, to be sort of the sounding board, if you will, between the Los Angeles Police Department and the critical mass and other concerned cyclists. And we were able to do that in a forum that I think preserve some decorum, because frankly, if it were just the police and the critical mass riders, it may not have been as went as smooth. But anyway, I think it was a good forum, and I think that shows that having the advisory committee there to be not just the sounding board, but also and not just to represent cyclists, but also to facilitate cyclists' input, as you say, and hopefully involvement, because there may be people that come forward who aren't currently involved in any particular organization or whatever, and we can steer them to other groups or steer them to get active with whatever project or cause that they want to work on.
Yeah, and the other thing is, of course, I don't know if you were listening earlier, I went to B-Rad's birthday party, and instead of enjoying myself and listening to music like everybody else, I was sort of pushed to the side of the thing, and people started asking me serious bike questions. And one of them that came up, and it reminds me of that night. That night while you were doing this, Jeremy, I forgot Jeremy's last name, but he put forward a program or a pilot idea of how to improve not only infrastructure but the crosstown commute. He was also talking about adopting some I guess models that have been sort of set forward not only in Davis but in that he as an architect was able to look at things like not only providing just structures or the background of what you believe a bike culture should need, like showers and bathrooms or something, but something that everybody can sort of benefit on. And that thing sort of lost its power because of all the other issues, and I think everybody sort of left after the first hour and a half or something, but that last half hour was so important, I thought, and there were things that I know that you guys were looking serious at, and I'm thinking some of the bike corrals that we're now seeing, and other programs, safety and getting kids out there in the next generation and educating them were addressed too. And we always think of these things just sort of like, oh, Davis became this overnight or something, but it didn't. It took the forethought of thinking about this, right?
Well, I strongly believe build it and they will come. They're already out there in many areas, and we can certainly make life a lot more convenient and cyclist friendly by doing improvements, not just accommodation on the streets and improving the condition of our streets, but also the actual, once you get to your destination, be able to have a place to safely lock up your bike. But yeah, that was Jeremy's presentation, as I recall, was on our regular agenda. They had been set prior to the critical mass issue, and so but to accommodate obviously most of the people that were there because of critical mass and the LAPD and the media, I think we rightfully proceeded with dealing with that because it was breaking news at that point in time, and then we went to our regular agenda and heard his presentation. And as I recall, it was focused on the advocating the backbone network for the draft bicycle plan the city was in the process of working out. And I think he was the spokesperson, presenting that concept that you need to have at least within a few miles, a way to get east and west and north and south in every area of the city.
Yeah.
If we're really going to make it, a viable transportation alternative.
So, and the recourse of that is, and it was overshadowed, I hate to say, by the mayor getting hurt, but that actually played into a lot of things. He had his own little bike summit, but everybody forgets that there were 2 other bike summits before that everyone attended, and in fact, it was fun I remember seeing you out for a critical mass after that. The next critical mass was insane. There were so many people there. It was almost like a Woodstock of critical masses.
Well,
so
yes, and I thought it was important to to check it out because of the issues that were raised. I feel I had a responsibility to do that as being advisory, but But also related to that is that 6 months before this incident even occurred, at that time the new chief of police, Charlie Beck, said that it's important to improve relations with cyclists, and he created a bicyclist LAPD task force, and it had been meeting since that previous January. And fortunately, to deal with issues of officer training and relations between cyclists and police officers. So fortunately, we had that in place. We had 5 months of working together as a committee when this hit. So it wasn't like we had to invent the wheel from scratch. We already had a structure in place to facilitate that. So that was very fortunate, and that's an ongoing effort, ongoing relationship between the cycling community and LAPD. It's hopefully we're not dealing with crisis.
No,
we're being proactive and
right,
really.
It's a way to facilitate people to come in and actually find some sort of solace in the fact that they can talk to public officials without necessarily having to make any kind of special arrangements or getting that only 2 minutes down at a public forum or something. I mean, it seemed enlightening to actually be able to talk and not have a clock on you for a little bit of time, which was...
Well, I think we actually kind of had to move it along because we did have over 50 people there. But as far as the task force meetings, we also have a limited time, and there's a dozen or so people there. But we can narrow down on very specifically on issues that deal with law enforcement and bicycling. So we have a focus. It's not spread. The BAC essentially deals with all matters bicycling in the city of Los Angeles. And but when you're with on the LAPD task force, you're more focused to those matters that are related to law enforcement, officer training, education, enforcement, etc.
It's urban, and I know that's been a crux of this bike plan. They've talked about mountain biking being separate from the city plan. Do you think we'll ever get to a point where we can actually discuss the idea that maybe not so much open up some of these things? I know that some of the environmentalists are talking about how much wear and tear the bicyclists are doing in the mountain biking, but I don't see that, and in fact that was something that wasn't really included in the plan. Do you think that's going to be addressed in the next draft or as an amendment or something in the future?
Not under the current climate. And let me explain a couple things. First of all, the state law requires that the bike plan be updated or reapproved every 5 years in order for the city to receive state monies for the different projects that it gets. So what typically happens is after 5 years, the council will just readopt the existing plan. And that's exactly what happened after the 96 plan. They readopted it in 2 times after that to keep it current, but there were no revisions. So if the past is any indication for the future, I suspect, and especially given the amount of effort and time, I mean, this new plan that was just adopted earlier this month, was a 3-year process, and and it involved I don't even know what the final price tag was, but I'm sure it was over $500,000 of real dollars plus whatever the cost of staff time was. It would have been equivalent to many miles of bike lanes of cost. Anyways, my point is that they're not going to go through that process, I don't think, at the 5-year time when this plan, would have to be renewed. That's number one. So, and especially given the city's financial situation right now and for the next 3 years. So that's number one, and I think the most important reason I'm answering the question the way I'm answering it. And the other thing, I can only speak about myself personally, and I know other cyclists, including others on the Bicycle Advisory Committee. We have been so inattentive, if you will, or lack of results over many years for the on-the-street transportation improvements to accommodate cyclists, that we have a lot of work to do to get caught up. If you look at the list of Priority 1 and Priority 2 projects, it's 13 pages, single-spaced.
Wow.
There's a lot of work there to do. Personally, I want to focus on that. I want to focus on making this the best city for bicycling on our city streets in terms of safety and accommodation, and really providing that opportunity, the infrastructure for cycling. That's my focus. I know others may be focused on other things, and more power to them, but that is many of us are realizing we're trying to catch up. We're trying to catch up for many years of not having done enough, and we're recognizing that we're over $4 a gallon in gas now. 2 years ago we were at the same situation, and if we had really taken the initiative 15 years ago, like we should have been, we could have been ready for the massive influx that I know that many people are seeing on our streets. So that's a long-winded way of just saying that both from the process for the plan and the focus of many of the people involved, that we're trying to focus on the streets. Now I will say this, that I had a conversation with with one of the leaders in the equestrian community. And I asked, I said, would the equestrian community support
the horse, he said, yes.
Right. It happened to be, I can't speak for the hiking community, which, they have a separate organization, whatever. But I said, if we were able to find places where to establish new trails just for mountain biking. In other words, separate, but the idea of separate but equal, if you will.
Yeah.
And this person said, yes, that would be fine. So I think that, and I've mentioned that to other people, and I think that's kind of the challenge for those people that want to promote mountain biking and again, this only applies to city parks, is find areas that that it would not be an environmental impact in terms of the topography, in terms of the vegetation, in terms of those other components, and that there's space, and put out a proposal for the possibility of such a separate bicycle mountain bike trail. Now it's still against the there would still have to be an amendment to the city ordinance, which basically says any trail that's been dedicated by the city rec and parks in city parks, you can't ride a bicycle on dirt one. So there would have to be accommodation there. But I think if the hiking community would agree with the equestrian community that on a separate but equal concept, and we found the right location or locations, then that could proceed. But again, that's not my focus. I will leave that to others who may want to work on that.
All right, Glenn. So, one last question: when is the BAC meeting again?
Yep, April 5th.
April 5th. So
it's the next meeting, 7 p.m. at the Hollywood Neighborhood City Hall, which is on Fountain Avenue, 6501 Fountain Avenue.
Okay, here's Nick.
So, Glenn, thanks a lot, man. It's been a while.
Yes, yeah. It's been busy, but yeah.
Come by sometime and do the show live, and maybe set up a panel or something if you want of experts that you've come across.
Yeah, I'd be happy to try to arrange that
and sample our luxurious pastries
did you
here.
have? Sorry, I didn't hear the earlier part.
He's offering pastries he's imaginary pastries that we could bring if you guys actually come.
Okay.
What were you going to say?
I know Allison was on earlier. Did she talk about the bicycle parking
That was Alexis Lance. Yeah, I think it was Alexis, right? Yeah, it was. And she did talk about it. Yeah. Did you want to?
No. If she covered it, I just wanted to get that word out.
Okay.
That's great.
All right.
Okay.
She touched on it. Did you want to touch on it so that it can be fully handled? All right.
I just if she announced the hearing date and all that.
What was the hearing date?
This Wednesday, March 30th.
All right. Okay. At
1 o'clock, City Hall, LA City Hall, room 1010.
Cool.
And if people cannot attend it, I know there's a way that they can submit comments, via email, whatever. So I'm sure if they go to the City Planning Department website and just do a search for bicycle parking, they'll find all the information. So, it hasn't been upgraded for decades. So I think it's important that the cyclists support this effort.
I thought it was. I'm sorry. I thought it was passed already. So we haven't passed it yet, and it looks like it's going to pass.
No, this is the initial hearing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the very first hearing on it, and it's a proposed ordinance that would expand the bicycle parking requirements to cover multifamily residential developments. For one, right now there's no requirements for multifamily residential.
So I would have a bike parking in front of my building if this passed.
Actually, you'd probably have bike parking in your building, which is even better because then it'd be protected from the elements and more secure.
That sounds great, but it's one of those things with apartments around a courtyard, so I don't think it would be in a...
Well, I mean, obviously every building, every development is different in terms of how it's designed and all that. And this applies to just for new development or major remodels or change of use. So it's not going to retrofit all the existing buildings, but we have to start somewhere.
But so the hearing Wednesday 1
p.m.
at 10 in room 1010 at City Hall.
Correct.
And it's just the first hearing and of many?
Well, I don't know that I can say that many, because the process is they have a hearing examiner for the planning department, and then it goes to planning commission, and there's usually a hearing at the planning commission, and then from there it goes to city council, where there's one hearing. So I don't know. Wouldn't call it many. I would call it this one, and then planning commission, and then one before city council. So we're looking at probably 3.
All right. Well, we need to make this work, right?
Yes, it's a step in the right direction.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Glenn, and call in again.
Sure.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
That was great at Glenn calling in, and yeah, that's right. You're still hearing B-Rad. It's still moving. It's still grinding, and wow, what a phone call.
Who's
got
B-Rad?
B-Rad, from Thunderstorm and points east of there, Los Angeles. This isn't making any sense to you. Anyway, they were giving it was like they were giving out share cuts.
Oh, here's the party! Wow, people having fun.
Yeah, there was still a lot of dancing and stuff. But like I said, I got sort of Shanghai to from the bathroom to the hallway to talking about stuff. Not that it was bad, because it was a way to have an informal kind of thing there.
There's Richie Tomasin. So you usually
Richie was giving a number of share cuts last night. I know that Mikey Wally got one with that said "No Manners Polo 818," and this is all in block letters on the back of his head now. So it's kind of why he's out there doing his Food Not Bomb stuff. He'll probably have a silly haircut.
I saw this party announced all over Facebook. Just
the kids with the social network, they go out there. And speaking of social network, we're awaiting Tick, who's going to be having a show tonight. Hopefully he can get into the phones now. He's doing it out at 12804 Venice Boulevard tonight. That's Venice near between Sentinel and Wallgrove, just past the 405 freeway. It's tick1.com. You can check it out there at the World Wide Web. Also on Facebook at facebook.com/ gold rat tooth. That's gold rat tooth. I wonder if he really has rat teeth that are of that mineral or element. But some of the pictures look fantastic. Its build is being tonight from 8 o'clock on, having things like original paintings, sculptures, dead animals. I don't know how dead they are. Bicycles, and of course sketches. This is Tick 1 out there at the newly opened Solo Art Show. The space is the Buck Wild Gallery. Because, as we all know, you can get crazy, but when you get buck wild, well, that's when they should shut you down. No. It's going to be fun.
What was the space of B-Rad's
Buck
party?
Wild? This one was
a
at Pins and Needles, and it was kind of cool. We always think of things like the unions doing nothing, but I'm reminded that yesterday was the 100th anniversary of the Triangle Fire, where it set precedents about while there was steel and brick to protect the structure itself, there was no, and that was insured. The idea that people would be insured was just a novel idea. Now, obviously, people get insured left and right. The idea of workers' rights, the idea of making it safe enough. And in fact, I even heard that they're talking about maybe extending fire rules so as even your home might have some sort of sprinkler system or something. But it's the idea that this was in the same space at Pins and Needles where it's pinball machines and stuff, but they have as their symbol and their kind of thing a sewing machine and stuff, and they're very pro-union. That being said, there is a union march probably going on at this minute, and there's going to be a rally downtown at Pershing Square at noon, and we just wanted to sort of relate that to you from some of the inquiries we've had on Facebook and some of the texting that's here in the studio, the instant messaging.
You know, right now the Biciclista's medical workshop is going on at Kaiser.
Wow, that's fantastic. That, of course, a program that provides, medical care towards...
well, it's actually
not just medical care towards bicyclists, but an ongoing thing towards.
This is a workshop. It's training for how to give medical care for the people who are going to do ciclovia.
Well, it's funny because we always think of, guys sort of talk like, there's always a med kit or a like those personal little. I think we had one in the studio. Like you get hurt and you go to it. Like the little
first aid kit.
But when you're riding a bike, I've been carrying for years a little one, and everybody always goes, "Chicken leather, do you have your stuff here?" When somebody gets a scrape or something, and it's always like something I always think, "Oh my God, this is horrible." But just knowing how to clean out a wound or irrigate it sometimes is something we can not only support but encourage. When you're on a bike, I always like guys that sort of say, I can get there, and it's like, well, at least clean the grease out of the wound. I know that I've gotten a lot of bangs and bruises, but when you break the skin, you really should address that. The allergies are bad here today. I can stand it when it rains, but when it stops raining and it's just rain, everything just comes out. I'm like fighting to sneeze right now. So anyway, I'm going to let you... we're going to play this for a little minute and get back. It is Kill Radio. And Bike Talk on KPFK. It is Kill Radio Bike Talk, the B-Rad party, and all sorts of funness, oneness, only things you can, only a kid can love. Anyway, we were on all sorts of rides, one of them being the punk rock ride.
Somebody thought that I was you.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's so cool. What did you tell
There's
him?
Reverend.
No,
One of the Revs who does a show here on Fridays.
Chicken leather. I'm like, I've never seen this
Yes,
guy before.
except no substitutes. It is chicken leather here, and of course they do a show dedicated to some of the things. One of the things that popped up was we saw some signage here. People were talking about some of the rides they do. I don't think that specifically they do rides, but they were on the Salton Sea that's getting a lot of press now. And apparently the sign they put up there is still out there. In May, it was a tribute to our own Tomatoes, who used to have a show here called the G-Rated Prank Call Show that, well, you can hear it on Wednesday with Tukey and a couple other ones. This is just self-promotion for the studio, but we want to put it out there because they're making inroads into it, and of course that's Christian that's talking to us from Torelli. Let's see what he has to say.
Did you stay up late and watch X on TV?
I was barely allowed to watch.
How about Elvis Costello when he did all the 5 words?
In living color.
In living color. Oh, that was like,
It's funny because we think of punk rock having been a new invention, but as demonstrated last night from the film at the studio, some of the questions we asked last week were, is the bike movement paralleling the punk rock movement? Will it ever be mainstream? And I like to believe that, maybe it'll be the haircuts first, like we mentioned, the share cuts, but I think it transcends that when it starts. It's like television. Everybody thought that television was just a window to the world, but when the window starts rearranging the furniture inside your house, then you realize it's having more of an impact here. Similarly, I think bicycle culture isn't so much something we can view, but it's something that's an ongoing thing that's changing. And if only for the fact that you see, I'm seeing everybody carrying chrome bags now. If not chrome bags, something of that. So it only gets to be a party when the pyrotechnics flow and stuff.
Can you remind me what we're watching again, please?
This is part of the punk rock ride that came in a couple weeks ago. One of the mainstays of the social networking rides that go out on a Friday night and sort of take back the streets. I know that we only hear about Critical Mass, but there are other rides going on. The other one that seems to be on the radar that a lot of people are noticing, not only in these chat rooms and stuff, is the family ride that's going to be having its ride, usually on a Saturday night. And in fact, we talk about their relationship too with other people, and they jokingly say that they do have a relationship with the LAPD and some other law enforcement kind of things. I like to think of them as the family ride as the freelance police, so to speak. Similar how what was it that Bunny and Dog, Sam and Dave used to do? Wasn't Sam and Dave a musical act though?
Yes,
it's
Soul.
the other one. What was the one with the rabbit and the dog? Oh, I'm saved by the
We're
bell.
gonna have to put. I think you're talking about Wallace and Gromit.
No, I'm not.
Hello,
I'm calling in.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. It is always great to get a caller, especially one as knowledgeable as you.
Or at least I fake it well anyway.
Hi, Ted.
Chicken Leather says hi.
Hey, Chicken Leather, how's it going, man? It's been a great show this morning. Although I was kind of grooving on that Dead Kennedys and the Ramones they were playing before you came on, so I had to get back into the bike mode for a moment.
Well, maybe we should
You're dating yourself there, Mr. Rogers.
Well, yes, definitely. I was an OP, original punk. I used to get beat up on a regular basis back in those days.
So, yeah, and now you're just, do you do the punk ride?
Punk? No, I didn't know there was a punk ride.
Really?
No, I didn't know about that one.
When's the next one? Checking
out. Actually, there's a punk film festival that the Echo Park Film Center is doing, and we rode to it. So I guess that's technically a punk ride, but this was a ride where there was punk rock, and we went to some of the sites in Los Angeles, including where the old Scream was. In the past, we've gone to the Starwood, where I remember just like, yeah, I wish I'd been riding a bike at the time, because I remember just circling West Hollywood looking for a place to park, and this is before they had permit parking. So everybody parked everywhere. So if anything, I think in some ways we have redefined the area, because there is permit parking. It just means that if you're in a car, you're out of luck. You have to look for some vacant lot that some guy is going to let you park there for $10, but or in the 7-Eleven in the back where they've got ample parking or something. But now you can get a bike. So I'm passing you back to Nick here.
Hey, Ted, so you got a blog called Biking in LA that
I do.
A lot of people regularly read. And we even actually got a listener email from somebody named Steve Herbert, who turns out to be a KCRW engineer.
Okay. I'm familiar with Steve,
I don't know if I'm supposed to say people's full names, actually, now that I think about it.
Only if you want them stalked.
We'll just call him Steve H. How's that?
Yeah, you know what? I'll go back and edit it. So, but the thing is, he said that he found out about BikeTalk through your blog.
Oh, good. I try to promote you guys when I can. It's a great show.
And that's amazing and great that you are doing that. So what else are you talking about on your blog?
Well, lately, God, we talk about everything. But lately, one of the things that's been coming up, I'm sure you're familiar with the plane crash in Long Beach a few weeks ago, where several people were killed, including Mark Bixby, who's was one of the leading bike advocates down in Long Beach. He was the founder of the Long Beach Bike Festival, and the amazing thing was he was the driving force behind, they're rebuilding the Gerald Desmond Bridge down in Long Beach. The current bridge is obsolete, and they're replacing it with a new modern bridge. And they weren't going to allow bikes and pedestrians on the bridge at all. And Mark fought that and ended up, pretty much leading the fight, almost fighting it single-handedly in some respects. And he ended up winning the battle, and there will now be a separated bike lane and pedestrian walkway on the Gerald Desmond Bridge. And the tragic thing is that they decided to do that just before he died. And another vote came just afterwards, after he died in that plane crash. So one of the things that I've been arguing for, and I've heard from a few other people, is that they should really name the new bridge in his honor.
Yeah, are you...
Sounds great.
Are you the main person behind that?
I don't know if I'm the main person behind that, but I was one of the first to argue for it, and I've heard that a couple other people have been making that argument. The LACBC recently made that same argument that they should name the bridge after him, or at the very least, name the bike lanes after him.
Where's the bridge?
It is down in, I don't remember what they call it, down between San Pedro and Long Beach, over the bay there at the LA Harbor, Long Beach Harbor area.
So it's like a major bridge?
It is probably one of two of the biggest bridges in L.A. There's another one down in that same area, but definitely a very important bridge. Provides access from L.A. or from Long Beach to the naval yards. So anybody who wanted to ride a bike to work down there, they've been pretty much out of luck. And when they build the new bridge, then they'll be able to ride to the harbors, they'll be able to ride to the naval yards, and eventually, when they do a little more work. Hopefully you can ride from Long Beach to San Pedro and up to L.A. Without having to take that long, circuitous route around the harbor.
Well, so that's really important, and I can't believe they weren't already going to have pedestrians and bikes on the bridge. But
They don't think of bikes when they build things like this. We have to make them think of it. Whenever they engineers sit down to design any major road structure, you can pretty much assume the bikes are going to be the last thing on their minds.
Right. And so are you Long Beach based?
No, I'm in West LA.
Okay.
Matter of fact, that's one of the things that I regret was that I never met Mark. I had an opportunity to say hi, and I was one time, and I was busy with other things and missed it, and now it's too late. It's a reminder that things can happen, and you need to take advantage of opportunities when they come up.
Well, I really hope it gets named after him. I don't know who Gerald Desmond is, but he's had his...
He was I had to look that one up. He was a city councilman down in the Long Beach area, I think back in the 50s when they built the bridge.
Well, so he's had plenty of time.
Exactly. He's had 50 years to carry the name. Now it's time to pass on the torch.
And you were also going to talk about the anti-bike backlash in New York. I talked to somebody from Transportation Alternatives, and she didn't want to call it a backlash. She thought the media was making it into a backlash. That's
pretty much what seems to be going on. The main conflict they've had is over a bikeway through Prospect Park West in the Brooklyn area. And the studies, the surveys I've seen say that something like 70% of the people in New York support it. But there is a small, rich elite that doesn't want a bike lane sullying their park. And they keep making claims that it's dangerous, that pedestrians in New York aren't used to looking both ways before they cross the street. It's like, my mom taught me to do that a long time ago.
They say that?
They actually say that it's dangerous because people have to look both ways. It's like, yeah, that's really hard.
Did you say Prospect Park?
Prospect Park West, yeah.
West. Is that part of Prospect Park?
I would assume so, yes.
That's like a huge park in Brooklyn.
I'll have to take your word for it. I've never been to New York, so...
It's a beautiful park. And so the bike lane would go around it or through it? Or
it goes through it, is my understanding. And it is, from the pictures I've seen, it's a beautiful separated bikeway. It's exactly what every cyclist dreams of. And it has cut the rate of collisions and injuries. Off the top of my head, I think it's something like 29% since they put it in. So rather than being more dangerous, it's a lot safer than it used to be.
It already exists.
It already exists. It's there, and they want to take it out.
And is that going to happen? I mean, do they have like numbers?
Well, they have money. Excuse me. The wife of Senator Charles Schumer is one of the leading people behind it. So they have money, they have power, and they have a very high-priced attorney who's filed a lawsuit against the city to have it removed, so claiming that all the statistics that they have on it have been made up, which seems pretty ridiculous. But and one of the things that they claim is that putting the bike lanes in has caused tremendous traffic congestion, and yet the studies have shown that it actually added 1 second to the average commute. So it hasn't caused any problems. It's made it safer, and yet these people want it out because evidently they just don't want it there. And, that's a problem that one reason I've been following it so closely is that we're likely to run into the same battles right here. We've already seen with Wilbur Avenue that you have a road diet that has, put in bike lanes. It's improved things for cycling. It's slowed down traffic on a road where people used to speed all the time. There haven't been studies that I've seen yet to show that, numbers that you can quantify it with, but it seems to have made things safer there. And yet you have a group that wants that taken out because they're used to using Wilbur for a high-speed throughway to bypass some of the busier streets in the area. And they just want to be able to make their commute that much faster on a road that was never intended to handle that kind of traffic.
So Ted, this is Chicken and Leather here.
Oh, it's like I don't know your voice by now, man.
No, but it's funny because that was one of the other things somebody brought to the issue. They were saying that now that we're part of this bike plan and putting this out there, it seems that we're now having to be the burden of like all the controversy. It's like they want studies on how much congestion we're causing. They want how much offset we're putting out there and all these things. And I'm thinking, can it just be an ongoing thing, or do we have to have all this information or all these environmental reports right up front? So it's like they never sort of demanded that of cars, yet they're demanding this kind of recourse with bicycles and something. I'm thinking of the school boards wanting to see what it would be if most of the people rode their bikes to school, and they're going, well, we don't have bike racks anymore. We'd have to put that in our liability, and they're arguing all these things, and yet they're not looking at the real problem, that if you got kids on bike and made it safe to get to school, you wouldn't have this line of SUVs circling the block every morning with them fighting and getting aggro just because they got to drop their kids off and pick them up in the afternoon. And I think that was one of the things that they were discussing down at the last meeting I saw you with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, tell me about it, because in my neighborhood, I lived in the Westwood area, and to get to and from my home, I often take Ohio Avenue, and it goes past 2 elementary schools, and I really try to time my rides so that I'm not there in the morning and I'm not there between 2:30 and 3:30 in the afternoon, because I'm taking my life in my hands to ride through there. You got all the cars backed up, and people get frustrated and start doing all kinds of things like making U-turns in the middle of the block without checking traffic, running through stop signs. They talk about bikes going through stop signs. If you put a police officer in, by these schools in the Westwood area, they could nail so many cars going through the stop signs without even slowing down. I've seen people drive on the wrong side of the road. Bikes aren't the problem. We're the solution. And like you said, they want to do all these CEQA studies, the air quality studies, to prove that we're not going to cause more pollution. It's like, well, common sense says if you get people on bikes who are not polluting, you get them out of their cars, things are going to get better. It may cause more cars to back up a little bit, but that's going to happen anyway in LA. We're already at peak capacity for traffic. We're beyond peak capacity in some places. So you have to start looking beyond cars for solutions that get people out of their cars. It was ridiculous this last week that with the price of gas going so high and the economy being so tough that people are being forced out of their cars, Metro just cut their service this week. It's like exactly the wrong thing to do right now. They should be expanding service, get people out of their cars, give them an alternative. It's great that we're building trains. That'll help in 20, 30 years. But buses help today. Bikes help today. We're looking at it entirely the wrong way.
All right, well, we have, thank you, Ted, for so much for those things. You should call in more often.
I'll do that. I got an invitation this time, but I'll just call on my own next time.
Oh, great. That would be really good.
Sounds good.
All right, Ted. Have a good
Thank
day.
you. Bye-bye.
Ted Rogers. I saw him at the last Transpo meeting downtown where they discussed these issues, and of course, he walked in a little later. That's because he took Metro, and he says, "Oh, that's the last time I take Metro to get there on time," which is kind of a little bit of a joke because he really did leave with enough time. Anyway, I'm joined in the studio now by our what are we going to call him? Are we going to call him a full-fledged collie? It's the blue one. I mean, is it time to like give him the jacket with the patch on it? All right, it's yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, to start off.
You're supposed to say this is.
Or this is Eric Ochoa. And
Eric, yes, Eric. It's great to have you in the room, and we're going to have that what do they call it, master's jacket ready for you next time. I think you've become a full-fledged reporter here instead of just an intern here at Kill Radio. Tell us what's going out there in the cycling scene right now.
Well, first of all, I got to really give it up for the new Leopard Trek team. There's two races that, well, there's a good number of races going on right now, but 2 races today that the Leopard Trek was involved in was first the Classic E3 Prix Vlaanderen, I believe. Again, these Belgian classic races have some weird names that are sometimes hard to pronounce. Defending champion Fabien Cancellara once again won it. And then there's the Criterium International over in France, which big brother Frank Schleck won. It was a little mountainous stage. So
No, he won it?
Yeah, he won the stage for today. And I guess I'm not so sure what the time gaps are, but it's usually safe to say that he probably has that overall title grasped in his hand.
The GC, right?
Yeah, I mean, Criterium International is only 2 days with 3 stages. So tomorrow there'll be, I believe it's a 75K Criterium, followed by a 7-kilometer time trial. We all know Frank Schleck is not known for his time trialing abilities, but a little short time trial, I doubt he'll lose any time on that. So
I remember at the Welta before his brother got out for drinking late at night, which kind of reminds me of last night, that he sort of spawned him on to actually get better times or something. Are they still working in tandem, the 2 brothers, or are they not talking to each other?
Yeah, they're brothers, and of course they're going to be talking. I remember reading something where when they were growing up, their dad was a former cyclist as well. And he told the two brothers, he's like, if you guys ever race on different teams, he's like, don't ever talk to me again. So I guess now that's, they've been together since the days of CSE.
Hey, that's exactly what Joseph tells me with Charlie. He says you're always going to be racing for Flying Pigeon, and in fact, that's why. I mean, earlier we talked about some of the components. It's like all I did for the Flying Pigeon was put fenders on it, and now I ride it in the rain. So it's really durable, and this is not to sell the fact of this thing, but it's the same deal. It's like all this background, this training, this legacy that they're sort of fulfilling. I think you see it in the next generation of riders. Everybody always says, does it always have to be Lance? Does it always have to be we're talking about something? It's like, no, man. There are young people out there doing some riding. And just to end this part of it, I saw the race on Universal that you were talking about, the one day
Lance and Remo?
Yeah. Oh my God, what excitement. That last 10 kilometers was just ridiculous, man. Even it was my stomach was in a knot. It was just so good to watch. And of course the Australian won it, the young kid.
Yeah, Matt Goss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, back to what Chicken Leather said about, Lance not being there and the young guys. I guess a lot of people really relied on Lance to make the sport interesting, what was 2010 when he appeared at the Tour Down Under was such a huge deal for the event. Like, a lot of people came out just to see him. But now that he's out of the sport, people are like, who's the next big American cyclist that's going to be? Of course, we got TJ Van Garderen, Andrew Talansky, and not just Americans. We got, the current youth under 23 world champion, Michael Matthews, who's also pretty great. So I think right now, I've mentioned before that teams really put in the effort to spot out young talent. Yesterday, I saw this video of Team Radio Shack doing a training ride over in Australia, and they had a 15 and a 16-year-old riding alongside the team, and the team manager, Johan Bernil, really took an interest in the 15-year-old. So, I mean, Radio Shack does have a youth development team, the Livestrong team, and I'm not sure if, he's kept in touch with that kid, to keep him on there. But, you can definitely bet that a lot of great riders will come up from that Livestrong team. Taylor Finney came up from the ranks in that team. He's now in the BMC team. But, sadly, in his first year as a top-level pro, it's really been bad for him. He was out mid-February because of a concussion. and he started a race last week, the Vuelta a Catalunya, and he got out because of knee problems. And a lot of people are pulling out. I mean, Matty Breschel, who was hoping for a great spring campaign, pulled out again because of knee problems that he had last year.
Yeah.
And tomorrow is another race. Gent Wevelgem, 2009 winner Edvald Bosenhagen is not going to do it. He's pulling out of racing because of Achilles problems.
Yeah, it's funny because we're talking about all these things, and there's also been some discussion about people's biological passport. And I always thought that was a great term that we should be using with everyone. You know, it's like walking around with your passport and making sure your papers are checked. But if anything, I like to believe that it's only when disaster hits do we really see the beauty and essence of a bike. I heard somebody talking not only about some of the things that are going on in the racing field, but similarly how the endurance is just there for other kind of methods and stuff. So anyway, that being a non sequitur again.
No, I mean the biological passport thing. I don't know. I guess it's great. Of course, there are some people who might not be for it because of the biological passport. Franco Pellizotti got 2 years for that because of irregular blood values. But I mean,
what is that?
Well, it's like if they keep a record of all your stuff on file, and they can go back, and if for some reason there's an irregularity, and like
they're on your ass,
heart
on that,
rate or something, or whatever they say. Well, what's going on here?
So
and they can look at
your
it.
statistics should be.
Exactly. Whether it be for you had a 1-day cold or something and took Theraflu
Yeah, I mean,
or
some
something.
riders even go as to like posting their I think their blood values online. I know Bradley Wiggins did that in 2009 when he actually made the transition from track rider to GC contender at the Tour de France.
Right.
Because it's not very often that you see a track rider, climbing up mountains with some of the best riders in the sport. And of course, when people see that, they the first thought that comes to mind, oh, he's on dope.
Yeah. And that's I don't think that's the thing. It's like I'm amazed that they always have to refer to that. It's like he's in conditioning, and it's like no, you're on drugs. It reminds me of a punk rock tune. It's like you're on drugs. No, all I want is a Pepsi Mom. No, you're on drugs. So maybe there needs to be some social distortion within the sport to actually get some changes going. And this season looks like it might be the one to work it out.
Yeah, I do.
Social distortion, I mean.
Oh, the social distortion thing.
They were a punk rock band.
Yeah, I know who Social Distortion is.
Back in the last century. Oh, I love saying that. Back in the later part of the 20th century. Anyway, I stand remiss because it's only when we see this that change really happens within sports or within the infrastructure.
I mean, a lot of people really hope for cleaning up of the sport, but
oh yeah.
I mean, come on, this year.
Well, there's the argument also has been for the radios and stuff, and I always joke that sometimes when I ride these other rides with people and get out there, I don't have a radio. I'm on a heavy ass bike, and you look at the countryside and you go, God, this must have been how the Tour de France was with one gear and going along, or you had multi gears, but you had to switch them when you got to a point, and everybody sort of stopped, and there was some courtesy and some common stuff.
Yeah, I mean, back then it was one gear. They were pretty much fixies. The tires weren't.
The derailleur had to be invented and stuff like that.
Yeah, the rims weren't steel or aluminum. They were actually made out of wood.
We bring this up, and I'm wondering if cycling can borrow from somebody like the NBA and have a day when they all get on heavy ass steel bikes and do the tour. I would love to see some of these guys just like, oh, you think you're tough, man?
Yeah,
all right.
mean,
here you go. This is what they rode at, whatever, and we're all going to do it like this thing. No radios, no nothing, and may the best man win. I think that's what the Volta was trying to do when they went to that dirt track, and who should win but Cadell Evans, who had been doing mountain bike racing. He was like in his element when it started raining, and of course it rains, and then it starts to pour, and then it gets to be like thick mud. Was that the Volta?
That
or
was
was
the
that
Giro.
The Giro? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying right now that cyclists right now are way too spoiled. They have the bikes, the radios, the training, the testing, and all that. When you look at it, when it barely first started, like you said, the heavy bikes, the wool jerseys, everything. It was so much harder back then that compared to right now, it's a huge difference. And like you said, that you want to see the cyclists of today, go back to that past of riding the tour.
It's funny here in Los Angeles. Matt used to do the feel my legs thing, and every once in a while you'd see. I know I saw a couple of our favorite riders out there. Jack didn't come out with a steel frame bike, but he came out with some silly stuff that one time, and then of course Cole came out with a full on like steel bike that looked like he had just dug it out of like the trash or something with his handlebar mustache, and he took those hills. I mean, it was really fun. There was a moment there on Eldridge that looked ridiculous, and I'm only reminded of this because last week on Bike Sport, our show on Monday, Brad was calling the race in the velodrome, and I think Jack Lindquist came up and he just barely lost it to somebody else who I'm sure it was a neck and neck kind of thing, but the call sounded much closer than it really was, I bet.
Yeah, and I remember a guy saying that, for the people who get caught doping, instead of giving them a 2-year suspension, maybe they should just give them a really heavy steel bike and make them race like they did back then.
I like that. So they have to be at the back of the pack.
Yeah, they have to be like, they have to have like the cheapest, well, not the cheapest, but, the really old school equipment for.
Well, I know that we talk about these social rides. One of the rides when we were riding down the Long Beach to welcome the Amgen tour, we had the Tour de Drugs, and it's like people dressed as Quaaludes and all sorts of drugs. And it's funny because we think of there was a recreational point to drugs, but nowadays it's almost like a different kind of like people are doing things in forms of it's an enhancement as opposed to just what do they call it? Euphoric kind of psychedelics.
Think like pot is a medicine. It's
it's
like a vitamin.
Oh, absolutely, and it's almost used exclusively in other sports as not just painkiller, but it's lost this euphoric kind of culture to it, and they get to be stronger and stronger. Some of the methods and things like that. Anyway, it's not drug talk; it's bike talk here, and Eric and Nick are still here. We have a few minutes to tell you that we are Kill Radio and Kip PFK on the podcast, and we've been talking for the last 2 hours about this stuff. Just to remind you that tomorrow night I'm going to be showing some of the video that accompanies the audio here as part of not even a benefit. It's a downright, you have to come. If you don't come, I don't know why kind of thing. This is the dare, double dare. We're going to support the tsunami, earthquake, radiation, you name it, whatever they are over there in Japan by showing in bad taste but in good taste some of the our favorite samurai / sci-fi / you name it, Japanese films that have inspired us in the past, including, I hope, one with a Kirin race in it or something. So that's tomorrow night. Also, Bridezilla, the Bike Hub, Punk Rock Ride, and, of course, some of the Peace March that we heard from the kids from Long Beach. That's tomorrow night, about 7:30, 8 o'clock at the Bike Oven, 3706 North Figueroa. Did you want to say something, Nick, before the blatant kind of sell here?
Well, we came late, so we can run over a little bit.
We came late, so we're going to run over. I like that.
If the next person doesn't show up.
I don't know. Beneath the Underdog.
There's somebody might call in at 12:05 from the Biciclistas medical workshop, so if we can stall 5 minutes.
We're going to play a little bit of, that's right, B-Rad's Party here on Kill Radio.
Alright, now tell the truth. Is this thing recording for real? Really?
Holding a beer. So get the girl, and go up and get the haircut. And get the light and the dancing and the feet.
So what are you doing all the things?
Well, we actually showed over the bike up for all the people that didn't make it. There's a lot of people that are handicapped. They don't know how to get on their bicycle and just ride.
Okay, so as mentioned, Tick One's got his big art show tonight, 7:30. Be there over at the Buck Wild Gallery, located at 12804 Venice Boulevard. Hey, somebody was telling me that besides tomorrow, our little extravaganza that's going on, there's some other stuff. You can always check this out at my second favorite website, that of course being the Midnight Riders, RIDAZZ, if you want to find out where a ride starts, where a ride's going to stop, or where it's going. It's funny because we were talking to him at one point. We were talking about maybe doing the Wolfpack / Cub kind of thing in its effervescent Japanese form. That of course, baby carriage in peril with lone wolf and cub, a samurai shunned by the shogunate, now for hire for a handful of silver or gold. Yes, you owe it to yourself to secure this at any cost, but because we love you, we're making it available tomorrow for a nominal donation. You set the price. You tell us what it's worth. Come see the movies over at the Bike Oven, 3706 North Figueroa. Hey, I'm having a great day. I can actually breathe again. I think I've gotten over that hump of I can't digest or inhale any more particulates of pollen or whatever it is out there. And I've hit sort of like, that's right, the top of the hill. I can barely. I wonder if there's. I know there's been some bike riders that have horrible allergies, especially going through these things and stuff. Eric's picking up his mic and he's going to tell me more.
The Irishman, Dan Martin.
Yeah.
Had surgery during the off season.
Just
because he said a lot of his season was ruined because of allergies. And he's usually, prior to the surgery, he was usually a rider that did well towards the end of the season, which was, say maybe September to, October, which isn't very much. But during those months that he did well, he did well.
Yeah.
But,
exactly.
when they'd send him to, say the Giro or País Vasco or any other mountainous races that usually suit his characteristics, he said, his performance would be dwindled down because of pollen and, those allergies that he gets. So he finally decided to, get some surgery done to, eliminate that. And so far, I guess it's worked out because he stands currently 4th overall at the Vuelta a Catalunya behind overall race leader Alberto Contador.
Well, this is the hardest decision for me because I know that the stuff is out there, and I really have looked at just a myriad of like, is it allergies from eating? Is it a combination of like the pollen out there and something? Is it just the rain? And we've had a bad rainy season here, so it's like I notice these things, and one of the things is I want to be alert, and I'm wondering how many people that actually drive are making that decision too. It's like for me, I'm on a bicycle, I crash into a wall, or God forbid I'll hit something, but it's my bicycle. Whereas if you're in a car, that's 3,000 pounds. I mean, you hit something, you waste it. And it's like, I really have to question somebody's ability. And as I say this, look at this guy's outfit. Wow, he's ready for anything. And he's texting on his bicycle. I think that might be something that's not as safe.
This is a really good window for that.
It is. We're able to see everything from this, our plush 19-story building here on the side of Koreatown. I guess we're going to renovate the offices because we can't move out. We're Kill Radio will be having a fundraiser, I guess, next month just to pay for these. Not so much that we're plushing out the offices, but we have to reinvent them for our workforce here.
I think every time you mention Kill Radio, you have to say KPFK.
Oh, and KPFK on the webcast or the podcast.
I don't know if that's not true, but
is it not true?
No, that is. But I'm saying
I like to believe that we have some sort of like
it
transparency here, that we actually are doing what we say we're doing, or if we're not doing it, somebody's going to hold us accountable to this. Just like the bike plan, I'm going to hold somebody accountable to that.
Yeah,
we're going to take them out, City Hall, get the little like what do they call those things that they used to put witches on?
Steak?
No, that's what you used to eat.
Oh my God.
We don't.
Which training here in the South. Anyway, coming up in 2 weeks, as mentioned, the Cyclovia. This is the time, and I'm warning you, this is the time, not on the 9th or the 10th morning of the 10th, to start looking at your bike. Seriously. Fix your bike, fix your bike, fix your bike, to borrow from liberally from another bike legend. We want you to check out one of these collectives, not necessarily just the Bike Oven, but one of the other myriad of them, including the Kitchen, the Hub, Bikerwave, or the new Bikery out in the valley, that you might yourself be able to find the time to go in there and just give the cursory check or the ABCs of bicycle riding, your air, your brakes, your chain, your drive. Check it now so you can be ready and you can sort of join the masses. And I don't know. You travel with a patch kit? You travel with like an extra tube or something when you get around town?
It's irregular when I think of it. I do, but right now I have these tires are really oversized, and it just seems like, and I can't.
They're never gonna get a flat, huh?
Yeah, and I can't get the tires off, man. It's.
This might be a good time to just investigate it instead of on the hour 5 on the Cyclovia.
Yeah, I got to figure it out.
All right. Well, I do that just in local.
Because I got an internal hub, and
it's always nice to have a tube instead of patching in the rain. That's what I always say, and I've done it. It's been bad. You always sort of look at yourself and go, "Oh God," but you get better.
So,
did somebody have an accident out there? It looks like somebody fell over. We're gonna check this out. It is Kill Radio. It looks
I don't know if we'll just have to talk to the biciclistas next week.
All right, it is Kill Radio. Let's get back to the end mode of B-Rad's party. Anyway, I think B-Rad now is 18, maybe 19. No, I'm just kidding. And then Richie was giving out share cuts. It is Kill Radio. See this footage tomorrow at the Bike Oven.
I think that video is a joke video. Oh my God, Justin Bieber with fucking almost 460 million. What? That's what it says. It's gotta be.
I can't even read that number. There's like